given a few examples of his encounters. That and one example that I remember is he was supposed to be on a flight and with his usual airline, but because of some schedule change, they transferred him to some other flight, and he had lot of stuff for whatever presentation or seminar that he was going. So with his usual airline, the he knows the staff, he has like very good built established connections with them, so they are always helpful, they because they know him, they know about his energy, so they are always there to help him. But this time it was shifted to some other airline, and the moment he went to the check-in counter, and that lady, with the new airline, gave him a look and told him outright that you are not going to be able to take all of this stuff with you on this flight. And she was like very uh, blunt about this as well. And he immediately gauged the situation, and he was talking like, when he's saying treat of things as holy relation with everyone, so even new relations that you are building, try to see everything as a holy relation. And all he said to her was, I completely understand how difficult this would be to transfer so many people, and you probably have an influx of new people who are on this flight, so I understand it would be a full flight. So he kind and again, energies don't lie, right? So he was doing it with a lot of meaning and purpose as well, it was not fake. And then immediately her tone changed, so it is also about the energy field that you create around yourself. And he could actually create a better relationship, and eventually she made some arrangements that he was able to take all of this stuff. And she even mentioned to him that I wasn't going to allow you, like there was no chance, but the way this whole conversation went by, you changed me completely. So she also acknowledged that to him. So that was the example that he gave when he was explaining that how we have to get that connectedness, and we have to feel the other person's perspective, and resonate with it, and then eventually solutions do work out. So that was that. And then the impact of saying yes more frequently and eliminating no to move from ordinary to extraordinary. So this was something interesting, because we hear a lot of, I mean, again, for some things, of course, we have to put our foot down and we have to say no. But things that are like really good for us or meaningful, it's very helpful to say yes more frequently. How our energies impact others when we are in harmony with intention. So he had, like, there were these small subsections in it. So all of this, like when we are in harmony with intention, these are the impacts that happen, like creating a calming influence, energizing others, making others feel better about themselves, fostering a sense of unity, instilling a sense of purpose, allowing others to trust and open up, inspiring others to greatness. So this was chapter, I think, 5 mostly, and we continued on Friday with chapter 5. We completed that and then started with chapter 6. The key points there on Friday's reading were impact of connecting to intention on others and the world around us, and how being connected to intention allows us to see beauty everywhere and in everyone. The concept of counterbalancing, where high energy people can counteract the negative effects of low energy people. This was very, very uh, profound idea, and it was supported with a lot of research by Dr. David Hawkins, showing how one person vibrating at higher energy levels can counterbalance thousands or even millions of people. And I would urge you all to go back and read this in chapter 5. And I think in the beginning, I think this was in chapter 5 where uh, he has talked about how different examples and how different level of energy fields that people have, and how they can impact thousands versus millions of people. And he has given examples of saints and all of that. Then suggestions for implementing the ideas, including making relationships divine, being compassionate, and wanting for others what you want for yourself. The introduction of the concept of infinity and viewing oneself as an infinite spiritual being having a human experience. So, this is also, I think we have heard this in different books and different messages. So this was again a very nice reiteration, and then addressing the fear of death and presenting two perspectives on life and death. So that's all was covered, and it was very beautiful. And the key idea, I think, that resonated, that we shared with all of us, amongst all of us in the discussion part on Friday, was how prayers done for the whole universe and for everyone are so far more powerful, and how they make us feel better. That's why I was feeling so aligned with that shanti part that I usually do. And then I was also sharing about Gita, right? So Mansi knows about this. So yeah, it was all in alignment about how we can pray for the wellness and peace for the entire universe, rather than just focusing on very small things that we ask God for. So I hope I have covered,
Yes,
I think,
yes,
most
yes.
of it.
Thank you. Yeah, and anyways, when we read it, it will be better. So just
I
asking,
just,
since there are just five chapters of this chapter, sorry, 5 pages of this chapter covered. Shall we just read it from the start? If that's fine. Like,
Yeah,
what do
yeah,
you think?
that's fine with me.
Yeah, because we have already read it, but I think there are many people who are new, like who haven't been joining. Uh, well, many of them new who has not been joined on Friday, or otherwise we'll skip
So
it. I don't mind.
we have Deepika, Sunita, Manish ji, they all were there on Friday. Yeah.
Okay, so
so
Deepa, Manish, and Rajesh were not there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah, Manish ji, what do you suggest?
no, no, that's okay. I just wanted to add what Richa summarized for Friday. Just want to add my little bit to that. I feel important. Like, see, what happened is that when Richa shared that person experience at the airline. So what I mean to say that when we speak something, but if my words don't have emotion, empathy, compassion, energy, the words are basically empty. So that's what the author is trying to say, that every interaction what we have with others should be full of good feelings, compassion, and respect. So that makes a difference basically. So that's how the airline staff was able to help the person to get away with his intention. So I think the words with feelings and compassion makes a difference. Yeah, that's I feel is very important in every act of life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I think Deepa wants to read today. So it's okay, right? We'll start from the start of this chapter.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be good,
Yes, yes,
Mansi.
yes.
That would be good.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Shall I
Deepa,
start?
then go on, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. We are in chapter 6, Intention and Infinity. Eternity is not the hereafter. This is it. If you don't get it here, you won't get it anywhere. Joseph Campbell. Please indulge me in a little excuse right here, right now. Put this book down and say out loud, I'm not from here. Let the meaning of the words be clear to you. The meaning is that you are in this world, but not of this world. You have been taught that who you are is a body with your name made up of molecules, bones, tissue, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. You know yourself as a person with your particular name and your identity yourself as a person with the possessions and achievements that you have accumulated. This self also possesses some terrifying information. It knows that if it is lucky, it is destined to grow old, get sick, and lose everything that is grown to love. Then it will die. This is a shortened version of what the world has offered you, which probably leaves you mystified and flabbergasted at the absurdity of this thing we call life. Into this bleak picture, which inspires fear and even terror, I'd like to introduce a concept that will eliminate the terror. I want you to know that you needn't subscribe to the idea that you are only this collection of bones and tissues destined to be annihilated in an aging process. You have emerged from the universal field of creation that I have been calling intention. In a sense, this universal mind is totally impersonal. It is pure love, fondness, beauty, creativity, always expanding and endless abundant. You emanated from this universal mind. And as I keep telling you, universal means everywhere and at all times. In other words, infinite. As long as your wishes are aligned with the forward movement of this everlasting principle, there's nothing in nature to restrict you from attaining the fulfillment of those wishes. It's only when you choose to allow ego to oppose the expanding, receptive forward movement of the infinite mind of intention that the realization of your wishes doesn't feel fulfilling. Life itself is eternal, and you spring from this infinite no thing called life. Your ability to connect to the eternal and live in the here and now will determine your staying connected to intention. Life is eternal. We all live on a stage where many infinites gather. Just take a look outside tonight and contemplate the infinity of space. There are stars so distant from you that they are measured in the distance of light travels in an earthly year. Beyond those stars that you can see are endless galaxies that stretch out into something we call eternity. Indeed, the space that you occupy is infinite. Its vastness is too huge for us to see. We are in an infinite, never ending, never beginning universe. Now, pay close attention to this next sentence. If life is infinite, then then this is not life. Read that again. Now pay close attention to the next sentence. If life is infinite, then this is not life. Read this again and consider that life truly is infinite. We can see this in everything that we scrupulously observe. Therefore, we must conclude that life, in terms of our body and all of its achievements and possessions, which without exception begins and ends in dust, isn't life itself. Grasping life's true essence could radically change your life for the better. This is an enormous inner shift that eliminates fear of death. How can you fear something that can't exist and connects you permanently to the infinite source of creation that intends everything from the world of infinite spirit into the finite world? Learn to be comfortable with the concept of infinity and see yourself as an infinite being. While we are in this finite world of beginnings and endings, the power of intention maintains its infinite nature because it's eternal. Anything you experience as other than eternal is simply not life. It is an illusion created by your ego, which strives to maintain a separate address and identity from its infinite source. This shift towards seeing yourself as an infinite spiritual being having human experience rather than the reverse, that is, a human being having an occasional spiritual experience, is loaded with fear for most people. I urge you to look at those fears and face them directly right now. The result will be a permanent connection to the abundance and receptivity of the universal source that intends all of creation into temporary form. Would anyone like to take over? Has anyone put their name? Or shall I continue?
There are no names. Others can just put it. But you
Yeah,
can continue
I'll
for the
continue
Bible.
for one more section and
I can
then if
read.
anyone is interested, take
I
it.
can
Yeah,
read
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maniji, please put your name, na, like so we can follow the order. Yeah.
Your fear of the infinite. We all are in bodies that are going to die, and we know this, yet we can't imagine it for ourselves. So we behave as if it weren't so. It's almost as if we are saying to ourselves, everybody dies but me. This is attributable to what Freud observed. Our death is unimaginable, so we simply deny it and live our lives as if we weren't going to die. Because of the terror that our own death installs. As I sat down to write this chapter, I said to a friend that my goal was to leave the reader with a complete absence of the fear of death. Let me know if it touches you in that way, even on a minor scale. When I was a 7-year old, I lived with my older brother David in a foster home at 231 Town Hall Road in St. Clements, Michigan. The people who took us in while my mother worked to reunite her family were named Mr. and Mrs. Carr. I remember this as if it occurred yesterday. David and I were sitting on the back porch of our home, and Mrs. Carr came outside with two bananas in her hand and tears flowing down her face. She gave us each a banana, saying, Mr. Scarf died this morning. It was the first time I'd experienced the concept of death connected to a human being. In my 7-year-old naivete, I asked her, attempting to soothe her obvious pain, when will he be back? Mrs. Scarf responded with one word that I know. She simply said, never. I went upstairs to my bunk, peeled my banana, and lay there attempting to comprehend the concept of never. What did being dead forever really mean? I could have handled 1,000 years or even a billion light years, but the idea of never was so overwhelming with its no ending and more no ending that I was almost sick to my stomach. What did I do to handle this incomprehensible idea of never? Simple. I forgot about it and went on about the business of being 7-year old in a foster home. This is what Castaneda meant when he said that we are all bodies on their way to dying. But we behave as if we are not, and this is our greatest downfall. Yeah. Uh, anyone now wants to read?
Yeah, Deepika wants to read. Yeah, Deepika,
Yeah.
you can take
Thank
over.
you. Thank
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Your own death. Essentially, there are 2 points of view regarding this dilemma of your own death. The first says that we are physical bodies that are born and we go on to live for a while, and then ultimately we deteriorate, our flesh wears out, and then we die and are dead forever. This first perspective, if you embrace, is it either consciously or otherwise, it is terrifying from our alive viewpoint. Unless you embrace the second point of view, it's completely understandable that you fear death, or you may welcome it if you hate or fear life. The second point of view says very simply that you are eternal, an infinite soul in a temporary expression of flesh. Infinite soul in a temporary expression of flesh. This second point of view says that only our physical body dies, that you were whole and perfect as you were created, and that your physicalness emanated from the universal mind of intention. That universal mind was and is formless. It's the pure energy of love, beauty, kindness, and creativity, and it cannot die. Since there's no form involved, no form, no death, no boundaries, no deterioration, no flesh, no possibility of it wasting away. Now, which of these 2 points of view gives you the most comfort? Which is associated with peace and love? Which invokes fear and anxiety? Obviously, the idea of your infinite self keeps you on friendly terms with infinity. Knowing you are first and foremost an infinite being consciously connected with your source, which is eternal and omnipresent, is surely the more comforting prospect. Because of its infinite nature, it's everywhere, and it then follows that the whole of spirit must be present at every point in space at the same moment. Thus, spirit is present in its entirely everywhere, which includes you. You can never, ever be separate from it. You will learn to laugh at the absurd idea that you could ever be separate from the universal mind. It's your source. You are it. God is the mind through which you think and exist. It's always connected to you, even if you don't believe in it. Even an atheist doesn't have to believe in God to experience God. The question then becomes not whether your body is going to die, but rather on what side of infinity you wish to live. You have two choices. Either you live on the inactive or the active side of infinity. In either case, you have an appointment with infinity, and there is no way to avoid it. Your appointment with infinity. Reread the Joseph Campbell quote at the beginning of this chapter. Eternity is now, right here. You are an infinite being. Once you get past the fear of death as an end, you merge with the infinite and feel the comfort and relief that this realization brings. We identify everything in this material world through a space time continuum. Yet, infinity has no preference for time and space. You aren't the elements that make up your body, you merely make use of the elements. You go beyond space and time and are merged with the infinite universal mind. If you haven't recognized it, it's because of your fear. You can keep your appointment with infinity while you are in your temporary body, with its slavish adherence to time and space. My objective in this chapter is to help you realize and do this. If you make this merger, I assure you of a life without fear of death. Let's take a look at both of the elements in the space time prison in which we find our material bodies and all of its treasures. The factor of space means that we are experiencing separation from everyone and everything. This is my space as defined by my boundaries. Those are your spaces. Even your most cherished soulmate lives in a world apart from yours. No matter how close in space you get, the boundaries are separate. In space, we are always separate, trying to imagine an infinite world without space, and separation is extremely difficult until we make our appointment with infinity. Time is also a factor of separation. We are separated from all of the events and memories of our past. Everything that has happened is separate from what's happening right now. Everything that has happened is separate from what's happening right now. The future is also separate from the here and now where we are living. We cannot know the future, and the past is lost to us. Therefore, we are separated from everything that ever was or ever will be by this mysterious illusion we call time. When your infinite soul leaves the body, it's no longer subject to the constraints of time and space. Separation can no longer interfere with you. So, my question to you isn't about whether you believe you have an appointment with infinity, it's about when you are going to keep that inevitable appointment. You can either do it now while you are still alive in your body, in the illusion of time and space, or you can do it at death. If you decide to make your appointment with infinity while you still live and breathe, it's like learning to die while you are alive. Beautiful. If you decide to make your appointment with infinity while you still live and breathe, it's like learning to die while you are alive. Once you make this transition to the active side of infinity, your
One
fear
question,
of.
Deepika. Can you make some meaning, more deeper meaning out of it when it says that
Sorry?
Sorry, I'm mute. You got on mute.
no,
Yeah,
Deepika?
Manish ji.
Yeah, what I was asking is when the author says that, it is like learning to die while you are alive.
Yeah.
So what is the intent behind this from the author?
I
Manish ji,
think,
let's discuss now at the end, like why now, like in the middle of reading. We might derive the meaning as we read further. Like the author might offer some explanation to it that
Okay,
might
go.
help us understand it better. Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
learning to die while you are alive. Once you make this transition to the active side of infinity, your fear of death dissolves and you laugh at the folly of death. Understand your true essence. Look death squarely in the face and break the shackles of slavery to that fear. You do not die. Announce it. Meditate on it. Look at it from this angle. If you are not an infinite being, what would be the purpose of your life? Surely, not going through the emotions of being born, working, accumulating, losing it all, getting sick, and dying. By waking up to your infinite essence and staying connected to the seven phases of intention, you begin to free yourself of the limitations your ego has placed on you. You set in motion the guidance and assistance of the infinite universal mind to work with you. And most of all, you feel the peace that overtakes you when you expel your fear of death and mortality. I am touched by the stories of great spiritual teachers leaving this earthly plane feeling blissful and fearless. They banished all doubt, extricated all fear, and met infinity head on with grace. Here are the final words of a few of the people I have long admired. The hour I have long wished for is now come. Teresa of Avila. Let us be kinder to one another. Aldous Huxley. If this is death, it is easier than life. Robert Louis Stevenson. This is the last of earth. I am content. John Quincy Adams. I shall hear in heaven. Ludwig van Beethoven. Light, light. The world needs more light. John Wolfgang von Goethe. I am going to that country which I have all my life wished to see. William Blake. It is very beautiful over there. Thomas Edison. Ram, Ram, Ram. That's God's name. Mahatma Gandhi. Why not write your own final words now and make your transition to being an infinite being while you still occupy your body? As you consider your appointment with infinity, look at how most of us live our lives. We know we are in a body that's going to die, but we behave as if it's not going to happen to us. This viewpoint is from the inactive side of infinity, where we don't see our connection to intention and our ability to stay in harmony with our creative spirit. Let's examine the essential difference between keeping your appointment with infinity now or at your death. In one case, you will be on the active side of infinity, and in the other, you will avoid it by being on the inactive side. Yeah, thank you. And Manishji, you can continue. Thank you, everyone.
What was the line number here? I was just on the side for a moment.
Just a minute. I'm just scrolling through to see how big the chapter is, and then I'll just bring you back to the page to read. Uh, it's a little big. I don't think. Yeah, we can finish it. Yeah, yeah. Let's finish this chapter. Anyone else also wants to read? I think they can get the opportunity. So please write your name if you are interested. We might have to extend for a 5 minute of reading or something like just to understand it better. I think it will be good if we complete this chapter today. It seems a little on the heavier side. And if we find it too much time consuming, we'll stop also. This is where now we manage to start. Yeah,
Yes, yes, the
active
active versus the inactive sides of
inactive
it.
sides of unfree. Yeah, Maniji, you have
Right.
to read from here.
Okay, yeah. The active versus the inactive side of infinity. On the active side of infinity, you are fully cognizant that you are in a body that is going to die. Furthermore, your inner knowing is that you are not that body, its mind, or any of its achievements and possessions. On this active side of infinity, you have a good grip on that trolley strap I described earlier, which is connected to intent, and you are an observer of all your sensory experiences. This may not sound like a big deal to you. However, I assure you that once you move your inner awareness to the active side of infinity, you will begin to notice miraculous happenings in your daily life. On this active side of infinity, you are first and foremost an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience, and you do all of your living in all of your relationships from this perspective. On the inactive side of infinity, your experience of life is quite the opposite. Here you are first and foremost a human being having an occasional spiritual experience. Your life is guarded by a fear of death, a separation from others, a competitive style, and a need to dominate and be a winner. The inactive side of infinity separates you from the power of intention. Here are some of the distinctions that I see between those who live in the active side of infinity and those who deny their eternal nature and opt for the inactive side of infinity. Okay. A sense of destiny. In the active side of infinity, your connection to intention will no longer be thought of as an option, but as a calling that you must heed. The inactive side of infinity leads you to see life as chaotic, purposeless, and meaningless. While your position on the active side of infinity leads you to fulfill a destiny that you feel deep within you. When I look back at my life, I realize that my sense of destiny was directing me at an early age. I have known since I was a child that I could manifest abundance into my life. While sitting in high school and college classrooms, where I was bored to death by teachers who conveyed their lack of passion in their dreary presentations, I dreamed of talking to large audiences. I vowed in those youthful days that I would love my passion. I would live my passion, and somehow knew that I was here for a reason. I could not allow anyone or anything to deter me from my path. I have always sensed that I am really an infinite soul, disguised at various times as a husband, father, author, lecturer, and balding 6 foot plus American male. Because I live on the active side of infinity, I have a sense of destiny that won't allow me to die with my music still in me. You can make the same kind of choices. Just let go of the idea that you are a body that is destined to die and instead seek an awareness of your immortal self. On the active side of infinity, you will find your greater self, of which a small part has materialized as your body. I guarantee you that simply recognizing yourself as an infinite and therefore indestructible being, your connection to intention and the ability to manifest all that you desire within the confines of your universal source will become your reality. There is no other way. Your sense of destiny lets you know that you are playing this game of life on the active side of infinity. Prior to accessing your sense of destiny, your motivation was that you wanted out you what you wanted out of life and what you would like to do. On the active side of infinity, you realize that it is time to do what your destiny intended you to do. Wallowing around hoping things will work out, waiting for your luck to change, and hoping others will come through for you no longer feels right. Your sense of destiny allows you to realize I am eternal, and that means that I showed up here from the infinitude of spiritual intention to fulfill a destiny that I must act on. You begin stating your objectives in the language of intention, knowing they will materialize. You enlist the power of intention to keep you on track. It can't fail because there is no failure in the infinite. The 13th century poem may inspire you to know you have your destiny. You are born with potential. You are born with goodness and trust. You are born with ideals and dreams. You are born with greatness. You are born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. By Rumi. If Rumi composed this poem from the inactive side of infinity, his words might be more like the following. You are an accident of nature. You are subject to laws of luck and chance. You can be pushed around easily. Your dreams are meaningless. You are meant to live an ordinary life. You have no wings. So forget about flying and stay grounded. A sense of the possible. Creation acts upon the everlasting possibility that anything that is thought of can be. Consider some of the numerous great inventions which we take for granted today: airplanes, electric lights, telephones, television, fax machines, computers. They're all the result of creative ideas by individuals who ignored the ridicule they encountered while they stayed focused on possible rather than impossible. In other words, a sense of the possible grows in the fertile terrain of the active side of infinity. I have here in my writing space a wonderful account of four children who refused to allow the word impossible into their hearts. Eddie was born without hands or feet. At age 5, he went to South Africa and saw a mountain he wanted to climb. He climbed it in 3 hours. And at age 13, he decided to play at trombone. He sees no reason why he should not achieve whatever he sets out to do. He lives on the active side of infinity, consulting that world of infinite possibilities. Abby was desperately ill and needed a heart transplant. When she saw her mother crying, she told her, Mommy, don't cry. I'm going to get better. At the 11th hour, a heart miraculously became available, and Abby is better. Abby's intention came from that world of infinite possibilities. It is the active side of infinity where intentions manifest. Stephanie was 5 years old when she came down with meningitis and had to have both of her legs amputated. Today at the age Today at age 12, she rides her own bicycle and has dreams that go way beyond those most teenagers who possess all of their limbs. Her personal slogan is push to the limit. After two major heart operations while just a toddler, the doctors told little Frankie parents that they could do no more. Frankie lived only because she was on a life support machine. When her parents were advised to have the machine turned off because Frankie could not survive and would only suffer, they finally agreed. But Frankie survived. She was somehow on the active side of the world of infinite possibilities. The caption beneath her photo says it all. You didn't think you could get rid of me that easily, did you? The power of intention involves staying on the active side of infinite possibilities. George Bernard Shaw, who was still creating into his 90s, has been quoted as saying, "You see things as they are, and you say, why? But I dream things that never were, and I say, why not?" Think of Shaw's words as you proactive staying on the active side of infinity and seeing the infinite possibilities that are available to all of us. A sense of awe. You have to admit that just the concept of infinity is awesome. No beginning, no ending, everywhere at once, no time, and all of it here and now. The fact that you are part of this infinite universe
and that you immersed into finite is mind-boggling. It defies a description. The active side of infinity inspires a sense of awe. When you are in a state of awe, you are in a persistent state of gratitude. Perhaps the surest way to happiness and fulfillment in life is to thank and praise your source for everything that happens to you. Then, even when a calamity arises, you can be assured that you will turn it into a blessing. In the active side of infinity, in the inactive side of infinity, you assume that you are only here temporarily, and therefore you have no obligation to the universe, the planet, and or its inhabitants. By denying your infinite nature, you move through life taking everyday miracles for granted. As you become acquainted with your eternal nature, you have a very different point of view. You are in a persistent state of gratitude for all that shows up. This state is the secret to fulfilling your own individual human intentions, and without it, all of your most sincere efforts will amount to naught. Being in a state of gratitude actually creates magnetism, and of course, a magnet draws things to itself. By giving authentic thanks for all the good you now have, as well as the challenges, through this magnetism, you start the flow of more good into your life. Every successful person I know is grateful for everything they have. This process of giving thanks opens the door for more to come. It is how being in active infinity works. Your sense of awe at all of the miracles you see around you allows you to think, see, and live more of these miraculous occurrences. In contrast, a state of ingratitude stops the infinite flow of abundance and health. It is a door closer. A sense of humility. The active side of infinity fosters a sense of humility. When humility enters your soul, you know that you are not alone in this world, because you sense the heart of the power of intention, which is in each and every one of us. To quote the Talmud, even if you be otherwise perfect, you fail without humility. When you embrace the active side of infinity, you are looking at something so enormous that your little ego is dwarfed in the process. You are looking out at forever, and your little life is but a tiny parenthesis in eternity. One of the reasons for so much contemporary depression and ennui is the inability to see ourselves connected to something greater and more important than our own funny egos. Young people whose primary focus is on their possessions, their appearance, their reputations with their peers, in short, their own egos, have very little sense of humility. When the only thing you have to think about is yourself and how you appear to others, you have distanced yourself from the power of intention. If you want to feel connected to your own purpose, know this for certain. Your purpose will only be found in service to others and in being connected to something far greater than your body, mind, and ego. I always told my young clients in counseling who were desperate for approval from their peers that the more they chase after approval, the more they will be disapproved of, because no one wants to be around those who beg for approval. People who receive the most approval are unconcerned about it. So if you really want approval, stop thinking about yourself and focus on reaching out and helping others. The active side of infinity keeps you humble. The inactive side of infinity keeps you focused on me, and ultimately is a roadblock to your connection to intention. William Steckel made a remarkable comment on the importance of humility, which was quoted by Salinger in Catcher in the Rye. Steckel wrote, "The mark of the immature man is that he wants to die nobly for a cause, while the mark of the mature man is that he wants to live humbly for one." A sense of generosity. Little up. Yeah.
Yeah, just a minute. I'll just check because we are already 8:08. So, do we want to stop here? We can. Just give me a minute. Yeah, there are still a lot to cover. I think, shall we stop or shall we continue reading? I think these
Yeah,
small, small
Mansi,
topics.
we shall stop. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Mm.
okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, we have to rush it very fast, very quickly. It will not get imbibed
Yeah,
in
same
the.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Tomorrow, what we can do, we can, if we want, we can start with these topics again, just to revise if we want to. Like, we'll go with a collective decision. So, generosity we'll read tomorrow. Let's stop. Otherwise, we're just rushing through it. No point.
Yeah.
I think there is just two more topics to cover. Generosity is the last one, I guess. Unpassion. No, there are three. Belonging. Okay, let's read these three tomorrow. No problem. Yeah. Sorry for that. I think the revision that we did today and the rereading of this just hampered it. Otherwise, we would have finished the chapter today. Sorry for that. Wrong judgment today.
But that's okay. I think it's good to go slow. I think once.
Yeah.
You
Sense
know
of
that.
knowing we covered? No, no? Yeah, we have to cover that. Yeah, okay. Tomorrow we'll read from here. Okay, then. Yeah, we are open for discussion, everyone. Thank you for being so patient and cooperative. So, thank you so much. We can just share now or have some any insights. We can just, any doubts, anything we want to discuss. Please feel free to unmute and speak.
Yeah, I can start, Mansi.
Yeah, Maniji, you wanted to speak now. Sorry, I interrupted you. Actually, what happens many a times, the author explains the concepts, right? So it really helps us to get some insights into what we are reading when we read a little further. So that is the reason we don't like
Yeah,
discuss in the middle. And the second point is when we discuss in the middle, many a times what happens is the discussion goes on with everyone's viewpoint, and then we are not able to read further. So then that disrupts the flow that we follow here. So that's the only thing. Okay. So sorry for that. Yeah. Go on.
yeah. So just what I was asking Deepika that time was that with the person is learning to die during his lifetime. So I think what I got the meaning out of it before and after reading is that the person basically the author is just trying to make every human aware that this death and everything else is just a part of one part of life, and not to get so overwhelmed with those things. So making just to I think he's just focusing to make us aware of these things, and not to be like feel otherwise, and just connected with the infinite power of you can say uh, what he was saying, that infinite power of intentions. So basically, and apart from that, what the author is saying that when we focus on apart from us, when we focus on others, because what is happening is so many things in the universe is they are connected to each other. So just focusing on oneself, on ourselves, will not solve the purpose. So we have to be mindfully focus on ourselves in alignment with the all the other energies of the universe. And so that's how it works. Just like it's our body part, that every part is connected to other, and any unwellness in one part will affect an entire body. So the author is trying to say that we are every human is connected to the individual mind is connected to the universal mind in so many different ways. Through the power of intention, we can being a very being very compassionate, with loving affection and showing courtesy in a like with a good heart. We can overcome so many barriers in life that we see today. We find it difficult, but with our intention, slowly we can overcome that and find our true purpose in life. So that's what the author is trying to say with different examples, that okay, just follow your intention and things will start happening. Don't be get feared by fear of death or any challenges you find or you see, that because with the power of intention, we have the power to overcome all the barriers of life. And we don't have to see that okay, one day you have to die, so you why to think so much, or why to do so much, or why to think so deep. But the author is trying to say that our source of creation is eternal. It's just a physical body. It's just like a one page of your book. Your death is just like you are removed one page of your book, and your number of pages in your book is infinite. So your original creation is from the infinite source of energy, that is the universe. So you have to take it like that. So when you leave your body, but your soul or your original creation is still alive in some form, in the form of energy, and that's get originated in some other form later. So, so with these words and explanation from the author, so he's just trying to say that you should always feel full of life, full of positive outcomes from your true intention, and not be a fear of anything that comes on the way. Always be full of energy, faith, and that's what I usually mention in everything, that one should have a full belief system, because the belief is the infinite energy inside you that will keep you moving in your direction of your dreams. So I think that's the gist of today's reading. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. You shared it nicely, Manichi, and especially the page part of your one page of your life, that was very beautiful. Yeah, very true, nicely said. Yeah, anyone else who wants to add or share something, any insights, anything that just struck you today?
Yeah, Mansi,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Go
just
ahead.
a
Go ahead,
short
Deepa.
thing.
yeah.
As I was reading that section about not fearing death, the recent times, as many of my wish list is getting fulfilled, my bucket list is getting fulfilled. I've been constantly thinking about this, what is on the other side, what is happening there, and what would that experience be like? So, what is that thing like after death and before birth? What is happening? I've been wondering about it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's it. You want to add something more?
No, that's it. This chapter is very profound for me. I need to reread it and ponder on it further. I'm just wondering within me, what is it like on the other side, before and after birth?
Yeah.
What is it
Have
like?
you
I'm
watched the
just
movie Soul,
thinking.
Deepa? Like, just curious.
No, I haven't watched it.
Okay, okay. So
It's
we
on
recently
YouTube?
watched it together on. No, no, it's not on YouTube. But I'll share a link with you where you can
Yeah,
watch free movies. Like, from that.
yeah,
Like, I don't know if it is Apple friendly, but iPhone friendly, but the normally Android, you can just view that. So I we just recently watched it on this thing. So that was one of my share today. Like, I just remembered of that movie again, and it's very beautifully shown in that the way they have illustrated it through animation about life and everything. It's very very nice. So that gives a fair idea about all the concepts that are so heavily described now in normally all the spiritual things and books that we read. So I remembered of that movie. So just wanted to share. So yeah, and I remembered of two, three things actually today. Of one is that movie Soul. That some things were coming to my, like when they talked about this eternal being and how we're infinite and all of that, and how there is no space, like the space thing and all of that. So it reminded me of that movie. Again, there is this one very very beautiful speech by Jim Carrey. So he's an actor, if anyone is not aware of it, and he's a very very good actor and very famous now, and he's gained his name in Hollywood and all over the world, and he acts superb. Like, he's a comedian as well as an actor and so many things. But and he has some very profound speeches on YouTube also. So one of his speeches, I think that is very famous also, is about how I am not this body, but I am content. My body is content within me, something like that. And it's very beautiful. I'll just look for it and share it in the group right away after our session today. So please go and listen. I would highly insist everyone to listen to that speech today, because that will give you a fair idea of it's very simply described by him compared to the reading today, because this is profound and we need to reflect upon it. And even I felt I have to go through it like once or twice more to understand it better. So yeah, it was deep indeed. So yeah, very nice. But yeah, and from what I understood from the chapter today is basically it's all about connecting to that infinite self. And I love the infinite possibilities part that we read at the last also. It was also beautiful how this talked about infinite possibilities. So having that faith, and where everything and anything can be possible and is possible for us when we connect with that part of uh, maybe the source or ourself or whatever we call it, God or whatever we believe in.
Yeah,
So
I want
that
to
was
add
my
to. Yeah.
takeaways from today's this thing. And even the qualities that the author is mentioning are all those divine qualities, right? What we hear in so many places, like in Gita, as well as Sister Shivani talks about it. So many people, like everywhere, we have this divine. Deepika would agree. She had explained it to us during the Gita session about demonic and divine qualities. Yeah, Deepika.
Yeah,
So
yeah, beautifully said. Yeah, it was very, very profound reading today, and the chapter itself is very beautiful. And
Mansi, can you
when
just tell me the chapter number so that I'll just give a reading
chapter
again
number
once I
chapter
16,
refresh?
six,
acha,
chapter six.
this chapter 6,
Six, right?
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
infinite something. So
Okay.
it's in the
Okay.
name.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, go on, Deepika.
Yeah, in chapter 16 in Bhagavad Gita, we learn the divine and demonic qualities. So, all these divine qualities are truly linked with that chapter also. And the line which the author is trying to say, that learning to die while you are alive. So, when we are living in this body, in this material world, try to connect to that divinity, try to connect to that divine power, universal power, or we can say our Krishna. So, for further, like there is one shlok in Bhagavad Gita which says that the soul can never be cut into pieces, can never by the weapon, और अग्नि उसको जला नहीं सकती, या पानी उसको भिगा नहीं सकता, वायु उसको सुखा नहीं सकती. So this again shows that we are eternal beings. तो जो the energy, that intention, that the soul concept is eternal. कोई भी शस्त्र उसको काट नहीं सकता, और मतलब उसको फायर, कुछ अग्नि उसको जला नहीं सकती. मतलब ये वाला श्लोक जो है, द फर्स्ट श्लोक, द फर्स्ट लर्निंग which Krishna said to Arjuna, the first learning is like science of soul, which is given by Krishna. So that I can totally resonate during our reading. And what prayers are there in this bhajan? Like एक भजन, कई बार मैं बहुत सैड होती हूँ तो मैं इस भजन को बहुत बहुत पसंद करती हूँ. लाइक इतना तो करना स्वामी, जब प्राण तन से निकले, गोविंद नाम लेकर फिर प्राण तन से निकले. जैसे आगे हम कहते हैं, श्री गंगा जी का तट हो, यमुना जी का वंशी वट हो, मेरा सांवरा निकट हो, जब प्राण तन से निकले. पीतांबरी किसी की हो, छवि मन में बसी हो, होठों पर मुस्कान हो, जब प्राण तन से निकले. वृंदावन का घट हो, मुख में तुलसी दल हो, विष्णु चरण का जल हो, जब प्राण तन से निकले. All these are prayers that we are preparing to die. The word, the line that the author has said, learning to die while you are alive, that we are doing to these prayers to the infinite source, those divine powers, that yes, we are going to die, but we want the death like this, that you are in front of us, uh, and you are going to take us to your divine home, back to our to our infinity, or that universal power. So in this way, when we connect to the divine, to God, so I think this is the message. I think the author is trying to say that be active to the infinity. One, he is trying to say that inactive part with the infinity, and the other, he is trying to say that active with the infinity. So making while we are making our connections to the infinite through affirmations, through visualizations, through meditations, or through naam jap, anything, or we are doing these prayers to God. So I think we are connecting to that divine power, and we are at the active side of infinity. But the gist I could get this from today's reading. But yes, it was very, very powerful. The story the author has said, where that Mr. Jones had died, and the lady said that he will never come again. Never. The word never makes the author very, very, I can say, astonished, or he was researching on that word never. What's the meaning of never? So very, very profound reading. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, very beautifully shared. And this is how I love about this mutual shares, that we highlight different points that makes us remember some things which we might have missed. So I loved how Deepika highlighted that point where we where the author describes the difference between being aligned with the infinite this thing and not aligned also. So I love that. So yeah, I had missed that out, and that is very beautiful because that helps us really identify which side are we more on. So that really helps us reflect better. So yeah, thank you for that, and everything that you shared, Deepika, was very beautiful, very profound, and this chapter is indeed very deep, I would say. So yeah, thank you for that. And I also like the resemblance, like the synchronicity for me, especially with death. As I just shared, like recently, just last week, I experienced it again, and so many. I've been like I don't know, like, but recently there have been so many incidences, or maybe in the past few years, there are so many incidences in the family with someone or the other close people. At least I get to hear about, we get to hear about death, or we get to hear about some close one just losing them, like, and all of that. So it keeps me very, very reminded of life every day. In fact, every single day I'm very grateful, and I remember that that is like inevitable, and you never know which is your last day. So I think all the deaths that I have observed or experienced around me keeps me into a lot of awareness to live a better life, a better day, be more humble, be more kind, be more live with surrender, and so many more things. I think that was very well covered in the chapter today also, and I think there is a lot we can talk about that as a topic as such. But yeah, very true. In fact, there is one book dedicated to it. Like I think maybe more also, but even recently, Sadhguru has written a book on the name, like just by the name Death. So if anyone is curious and want to know and learn about it, that could be their pick of the year, like one of the pick of the year, like Death, the book named with Death by Sadhguru. So yeah, I think it's always been a topic to be understood, something that we need to uh, reflect upon or understand, and it's deeper. Most of us fear it, almost all of us, in fact. But yeah, and I love the concept because that's how that's just how I explain my daughter about my grandmother. Like she has gone into light, and now she somewhere understands, I feel, watching the movie Soul with Us and so many other things. She's, I don't think, I hope she don't have this fear of death, because she has not lost anyone very, very close to her yet. But still I feel I'm preparing her. And many a times now, what I feel when it comes to death, it's like how much ever you talk and understand about it, the fear still prevails, and somewhere we are always preparing ourselves for it. Like whatever I read, whatever I understood, or whatever, how much ever I know, and I believe in it, all of these, still I feel the fear of losing our loved ones is threatening, and and that is something I don't know if I will be even able to face, even when it comes to uh, facing it. In fact, like losing a physical presence of any person is very, very different. So that is one thing, and so many things covered in the chapter already. So yeah, thank you for being there. And Richa, I'm very sorry. It went to be a wrong decision maybe to repeat it, because otherwise we would have really completed the chapter today. If we had not went back and read it again. Uh, but yeah, it was a learning for me. So
No,
yeah, yeah.
it's
Please,
okay. I
please
think
share
it was
your.
meant. It was meant to be. There is no problem in repeating a certain part.
It makes it uh, dwell deep into you also, right? So the learnings and also it made sense to actually recap that and revisit those points again. Oh, and I would want to discuss this chapter as well again, because this is again uh, the real source of uh, understanding yourself as well as the things around you.
Yes, yes.
I want to add something.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunita, you want to add something before that, like anything you want to share from as your insights from overall the reading so far?
So uh, for me, I think when I think about myself and my fear for death, it's always this that I have not done this, or how, I've not prepared my child for this in life. So I think I view it on a very selfish level, if I can admit that to you guys, that and knowing the fact that nobody is indispensable and life has a way of flowing through. You do feel the pinch of losing people who are dear to you, but then time heals and everything falls in place. That is the beauty and purpose of life and evolution as such. But if I myself am going through certain times or some kind of a uh, uh, not to talk about trauma or something difficult is going on, and I think, oh my God, if I am not able to reach home on time, is my daughter well prepared to handle that for me? So it is just from my perspective that I'm looking at it, my selfishness. This is what I think, because if we see ourselves, if we look at the people that we've lost, and uh, life has put that strain on us, we've been able to overcome that. The journey, that immediate aspect of it has been difficult, but time does heal, and it makes you understand the frivolity of your the materiality that you own, attached to things, and the emotions that you attach to things. So yeah, that is just my perspective as how I have what went through my mind when I was listening to all this.
Wow, beautifully put. Yeah, very true. We do. I think we all are selfish in that way. But what I believe is, we have taken so many of these words now too seriously, that we just label ourselves very easily. And I think there are so many words that are, I feel, too much used or overestimated, I would say, because otherwise, if we just remove that word itself, like selfish or whatever, or selfless, selfish, whatever it is, maybe we might want to look deeper into it and find meaning out of it. Just remove that word and think about this concept, Sunita. I think that will help. Otherwise, we just think in that context only, or we label ourselves very easily, because maybe that's how we have seen others do it. But there is this one saying that you have to be selfless, you have to be selfish to be selfless. So the concept behind this is, like, my mentor used to talk it to us many a time, that basically when you have to give others, like, it's like wearing our own mask first in the aeroplane. Like, while traveling in the flight, you have to wear your own mask first, and only then you can save others. So that is just one point of it. So that we, and you talking about your daughter, so in your own share that you just did right now, there is so much of selflessness itself. Like you are actually not concerned about yourself, but about your kid, and that is not selfish at all. So yeah, basically it's all about and yeah, why not, right? We are humans here, and we we need to think about our loved ones, and that is love. Like that is what we do, right? That is what we are here for. I feel like just to spread this love and caring and all of that, to nurture one another and help each other grow in our own individual journeys, evolve. And yeah, so much, so deep. Yeah, I don't have words actually to express what I'm feeling right now with your share. So yeah, Manishji, please share.
Yeah, I just want to add what you all guys just shared with you. See, my take on that is that every physical being, whether it is a human body, plant, or if you see around that, plants. Nobody take care of plants so much as we take care of our human body, right? But still, plants keep shedding leaves every year. They die after some years, and they again they get created again. And it's not that somebody is fully taking care of that, like some human person or something, but there is some energy that is taking care of all the. See, we, every human being or every plant or every animal, that's everything has been created through some source of energy, right? So when we see, let's take example of plants. I think that's a very simple to understand. They in the forest, they keep dying, they shed their leaves, but they again start germinating, right? By their own, by the law of nature, by not somebody like especially taking care of them. So I relate that to our human body also, that like, see, nothing living can survive forever, and that's the beauty of it. Because so see, when you get 80, 90, you get old, right? So you want to stay like that for another 100 years? No, right? Because you don't want to stay with the lazy body, and so many people take care of you, not in a right way, basically, not in the intention of how they want to see you as a very old person, right? You can't eat well, you can't live well, things like that. So I feel that the overall cosmos or the universe has its own way of recycling the things for the betterment of everybody, for the nature, for ourselves as a humanity. So I take it from that perspective. And one more thing is that when we are living every day mindfully, like every hour, every moment, and we live it mindfully, and keeping a balance with our affectionate people, like our family, child, parents, everything. So basically, it's just like that. When you are in a balance, you are working at its your best. Like too much affectionate. Let's say you are very affectionate to one person, right? You don't want to live without that person. So do you think you can enjoy the other areas of life? No, no, right? It's just like that you have everything in balance, only makes it more better, basically, the best out of it. So what is happening is that Jim Carrey also says the same thing, that see, our body is just like a vessel of our soul or consciousness. It's just a vessel, it's just a container. So when the person dies, the vessel container goes away, but the soul and the consciousness still stays there. Because what I feel is that the human body, see, even a plant, right? It gets germinated automatically after it dies, after so many years, right? So I feel like, I think the author, well, I cannot say that it is 100% based, but based on what we read, based on what we hear from the people who makes a difference in the life, we say that it's like a cycle of good creation and dying bad creation. Like when something gets old, like something, like something gets old, it has to die to uh, uh, to to germinate again, to have a new beautiful life again. So it's just like that. So you have so basically with all those prayers, meditation, and all the like all the beliefs and good thoughts, we make ourselves as a very you can say a very disciplined and a very practical, mindful person, to embrace every act of life, through people, through experiences, through work, through helping others. We make it more meaningful, and as we do that, and we enter our last stage of life, we make our consciousness so mindful that and that we get that soul or consciousness get created to that physical body again in some other form of life, in a better way, basically. So I think that the author is trying to say that this thing in different ways, and that's the sense I get out of it. So the point is to live your life mindfully every day, so that you don't get over emotionally attached to anything, which is not wise for anybody, basically, not to yourself, to the other person. And live the life so mindfully that if you live 100 years or 80 years, you feel that you have lived every moment of life to its best way, basically, for ourselves and others. And with that consciousness, when we die, we are basically associating ourselves, our consciousness, to the highest energy of the universe, and we get created in some with that same consciousness, we get created in a better form of life after our death. I think that's what I relate from today's reading. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, lots and lots of learning today from the reading, and in fact, even we need to reflect also very much for this chapter, especially. I felt it compared to all the others, like this book itself is very deep, but I think this chapter I personally found it uh, like I think I need to like spend more time reading and understanding each things explained in it better, is what was my feeling when we read it. So yeah, very true, very nice. Yeah, thank you, Maniji. And you shared it very beautifully about the plant, because I remember one of my mentor was giving the similar example. Like when it comes to our kids, sometimes we are very possessive, right? We get possessive with us. Like she was explaining about her own kid, so that is what she shared, that she wanted her child to study and do certain things or something like that. So it happens with people, close people in our life, right? And we want to control, we want to uh, have them things in certain way. But then she shared the very similar example, and I love the synchronicity, how it happened with, like, Sunita was talking about her kid and her care for her, and then Maniji just pointed out this example of plant. So what happened was, she shared was, like, when I was getting possessive with my kid's studies and him to behave in a certain way and things like that. But then this was a stark realization for her, that she shared that basically it's all, we are all like plants, right? And as a mom, I just need to nurture the plant the best I can, and then leave it to evolve on its own. Like, for example, just giving the right conditions, soil condition, watering, and all of that is what I need to be taking care of. Other things I need to leave it, like, for the higher powers to take care of, like, or the child the plant has its own intelligence to grow in a certain way, so that also has to be allowed for it to grow. I cannot really help the child grow the way I want, but basically it is going to grow the way it's supposed to, and it has its own intelligence, as we read in the very very early chapters of this book also, right? This, we have a seed within us. An apple tree will only grow into an apple plant,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sorry, apple plant will only grow into an apple tree, and a mango will grow into a mango. So we all have our own intelligence, what we want to become, and we are somewhere going in that direction. So yeah, very very beautifully said. So we need to allow that space somewhere for every individual, I would say. And the other realization, and the other this thing that I remembered was about this sorry, I forgot. Okay, I'll just add later, and if we have time, otherwise even tomorrow, because we are already over time today. So sorry for that. So
Actually,
yeah,
Mansi,
yeah.
क्या होता है
Anyone
ना
wants
कि
to quickly add
जैसे
something? Otherwise, we can just close. Yeah, Maniji.
व्हाट आई वाज सेइंग इज, कहता है ना कि आप कितना भी अच्छा खाना खा लो, लेकिन उसको वही खाना, अगर आपका पेट भर गया, अगर उसको दोबारा खाना है तो आपका खाली पेट होगा, भूख अच्छी होगी, तभी आप उसको एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, जस्ट लाइक दैट, सो यू हैव टू,
Yeah, yeah, very
जैसे एक दूसरी सांस लेने से पहले पहली छोड़नी पड़ती है, तो ये वो कहता है ना कि इट इज जस्ट अ बैलेंस ऑफ, यू हैव टू कीप अ बैलेंस ऑफ थिंग्स टू फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ व्हाट फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ लाइफ, बेसिकली.
yeah,
या
yeah, yeah, yeah.
यू हैव टू
Very
एक्सेप्ट
true,
इट. वो
very
कहता
true.
है ना कि डायमंड को भी डायमंड बनने के लिए क्रश होना पड़ता है, तो हमें भी थोड़ा सा,
Yeah,
कहते हैं ना कि to get better in
Yeah,
life
it's
थोड़ा मेरे
basically
को
you're talking about accepting death. जो
या
होता है
ठीक है
अच्छे
यार
के लिए
ठीक
होता
है
है.
मतलब that is
Thanks. Yeah.
making that is for our betterment only.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah,
इतना
got it.
फ्रेश
Yeah.
फ्रूट अच्छा लगेगा ना तो बासी फ्रूट अच्छा नहीं लगेगा just like
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah. So I believe it this way that when our purpose is over, we have to leave the body. But I think as far as we are alive, there is I believe it in the other way around. Basically, as far as I'm alive, there is still something for me to do or love or do it could be just loving one person or supporting one person in my life, and that's fine. But as
no
far
no
as I'm alive, I have a purpose still to fulfill
no
is
no
what how I see it.
Mansi, I say the same. I say in a different way, but you are saying कि हमारा purpose हो गया ऐसा नहीं है. Your purpose is never over. It's just that our physical body का एक होता है ना हर living body का एक हर living entity का एक expiry date होता है, right? जैसे आप कुछ भी प्लांट्स है या जैसे कोई फल फ्रूट है या कोई हम खाना बनाते हैं या कुछ भी है उसका एक्सपायरी डेट तो रहता है ना कि भाई उसकी एक लाइफ होती है हर चीज की, है ना, क्योंकि इट इज इनसाइड, उसको एक एनवायरनमेंट चाहिए रहने के
Yes.
लिए, तो उसकी
Yeah.
एक्सपायरी है, ठीक है ना, तो ठीक है
Yeah.
हमारी बॉडी की भी
Very true.
एक्सपायरी है, लेकिन हमारी जो सोल और कॉन्शियसनेस है उसकी कोई एक्सपायरी नहीं है. इट इज अनएंडिंग, बेसिकली इनफाइनाइट. सो वी हैव टू टेक इट फ्रॉम दैट वे कि भाई ठीक है यार ये फिजिकल बॉडी पुरानी होगी, इसको छोड़ो, अब नई बॉडी लेते हैं एंड लेट अस लेट्स लिव आवर बेस्ट. तो जब इस फिजिकल बॉडी का टाइम पूरा हो जाएगा तो इट विल लीव अस जस्ट लाइक दैट. जस्ट थिंक इट दैट वे एंड फील बेटर, आई थिंक.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, Richa, I'm sorry. I think you did not get anything to share today with
It's okay.
everyone.
I will share tomorrow. I just had one thing to add, but I want to reflect on it as well. And we have not completed the chapter, and I also want to close the room on time. So I've taken the notes. So yeah, we can close and we'll reconvene tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And yeah, let's close and let's see. Like tomorrow onwards, we'll keep time and a little more particularly. So yeah, let's do that. Let's keep it a practice. Thank you for
Yes.
everyone. Like, thank you. We'll close the room now.
बाय बाय.
Bye
Yes.
bye.
Yes.
Take
All
care. Yeah.
right. Take care, Mansi. You
Yeah.
both
Bye.
have a great day. Bye.